Welcome to this special explainer. Today we're doing something really exciting. We are stepping onto absolutely the grandest stage in all of world sports. We're looking ahead at an event that honestly transcends mere competition. It's an event that literally stops the globe. We're going to break down the sheer scale, the deep, raw emotions, and the rich narrative of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Because, let's be real, this isn't just about a ball in a net, right? This is the story of the greatest footballing grand battle on Earth.
Year 2026, the footballing world once again stands on that stage. A stage where dreams, raw passion, and history are written together. We aren't just looking at a tournament here. We are looking at the convergence of the hopes of millions of people. It's the culmination of players' lifelong struggles and the absolute ultimate display of national pride.
Section 1. A new grand battle.
2026. You see, this isn't just some number on a calendar. This year represents a monumental milestone in the sport. It marks a moment in time where everything gets bigger, where the stakes are elevated to crazy heights, and where the chapters of sporting history will be boldly rewritten.
And here's why. For the very first time in the history of this grand battle, 48 distinct national teams are entering the battlefield. 48! It's a completely historic expansion. What does that mean for us? Well, it means more countries, totally different styles of play, and a lot more incredible storylines all converging in one single place.
And supporting those 48 teams is the number 3. 3 host nations: the United States, Canada, and Mexico. They're uniting their massive infrastructures and opening up the doors to the world's absolute biggest stadiums. Just imagine the sheer vastness of an event spanning across the entire North American continent, bringing the game to more fans live than ever before in history.
Yet despite that massive continent-spanning scale, despite the 48 teams and the 3 host nations, it all really boils down to this: one dream: world champion. Every single team, from the absolute heavyweights to the total tournament debutantes, steps onto the pitch sharing the exact same ultimate ambition.
Section 2. The dreams of players.
It all starts with a childhood dream. For so many of these guys, it begins by simply emerging from a small town, away from the bright lights, maybe just kicking a ball in a dusty street. A young child holds on to this incredible, almost impossible vision of one day finally wearing their national jersey and stepping out onto the world stage.
And for countless athletes, the battle isn't just on the pitch, is it? It's an intense, deeply personal fight against poverty and their circumstances long before they ever reach a professional stadium. For them, football becomes their beacon of hope. It's literally their way out.
So by the time they actually arrive at the tournament, they are carrying the weight of expectations. And let me tell you, this weight is immense. They aren't just playing for themselves anymore. No, they're carrying the heavy, desperate hopes of their families, their hometowns, and really the entirety of their nations squarely upon their shoulders.
And the pressure is just so incredibly high because of the absolute unpredictability of the sport. History proves time and time again that giants can fall and small nations can forge legends. It all comes down to these tiny, razor-thin margins. Just one goal, just one miraculous save, or one split-second, last-minute decision. Any single one of these 3 elements can completely alter the course of the world.
Section 3. The Challenge of Legends.
Our source material highlights the specific, intense motivations driving the real powerhouses in 2026. Look at Argentina. They're stepping onto the pitch with the fierce determination of protecting their established legacy. Then you have Brazil, aggressively seeking to return to their old, undeniable magic. And France? Well, they present a massive threat, looking incredibly dangerous, fueled by an entirely new generation of talent.
So the really crucial point here is how these titans measure up against everyone else. On one side of the coin, we have the host nations dreaming of monumental surprises. They're leveraging the powerful energy of their home turf to really try and shock the world. But on the other side, we have the small so-called underdog nations. And as history repeatedly shows us, these smaller nations possess the incredible capacity to defeat the giants and write their very own historic chapters.
Because, you see, the World Cup is never just about the big names. It's really about the unwritten stories waiting to unfold. It's about that exact moment a relatively unknown youth steps up and becomes an overnight star. It's about a single, spectacular goal that gets permanently etched into sporting history. Or sometimes, honestly, it's about a team that technically loses the match, but plays with such unbelievable heart and bravery that they win over millions of hearts globally.
Section 4. The magic of football.
Far outside the pitch, this tournament does something genuinely miraculous. It connects the world. Different languages, different cultures, yet they all unite for one game. It just beautifully transcends geographical and political borders, bringing entirely diverse groups of people together, completely united by a single, shared, undeniable passion. For 90 minutes, the whole world becomes just football. It's a profound thought, isn't it? Everything else just fades away. For that window of time, humanity shares a singular, beating, emotional heartbeat.
Section 5. Waiting for the final whistle.
And this brings us to a stark, really fascinating contrast. On one side of the equation, one team wins the trophy. Out of 48 nations, only one physical squad actually gets to lift that gold. But on the other side, the whole world makes memories. The memories, the emotions, the collective experience, that is a victory shared by everyone watching.
So, as we look towards the massive stadiums across the United States, Canada, and Mexico, I leave you with this ultimate question to ponder. Who will win the 2026 World Cup? Will a brand new champion rise up and forge a completely new path in history, or will an old legend return to reclaim their throne and rule the world once again?
We won't know until the final whistle. We have to wait until that magical moment when all the sweat, all the pressure, and all the passion finally culminate, and a lifelong dream is turned into absolute reality. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep wondering, and
Okay,
I'll see.
let's dive right into this. Welcome to our explainer on, well, arguably the most monumental sporting event on the planet. Today, we're exploring a deeply emotional, truly historical saga, the FIFA World Cup. Now, you and I both know this isn't just about a gold trophy, right? It's a story about millions of dreams, intense passion, and the legendary narratives that have literally defined global football for nearly a century. We're going to look at how every 4 years, these countries step onto the pitch armed with absolutely nothing but their sweat, their hard work, and their absolute biggest dreams. So let's start at the beginning. Section 1, the beginning of the World Cup. Picture this. The year is 1930. The world is witnessing a tournament for the very first time that would eventually elevate football from just a game into an absolute global obsession. The first World Cup was played down in Uruguay, and the magic number here is 13. Just 13 teams participated in that inaugural event. I mean, at that time, absolutely no one had any idea that this relatively small, localized tournament would gradually evolve into the biggest sporting event in the world. But slowly, the identity of the World Cup grew. You started seeing these smaller teams occasionally taking down massive giants, proving that, hey, history really can be written by anyone. Moving into the mid-century, we hit Section 2, Pain and New Stars. Look at the intense duality here. In 1950, host nation Brazil suffers an incredibly shocking, devastating defeat right in their own home. That loss wasn't just a dropped match on a scorecard. It became one of the most emotional moments in football history, a true collective heartbreak. But now, what's really interesting about this part of the story is how quickly the narrative flips. Just 8 years later, in 1958, this young kid, a star named Pelé, bursts onto the scene and absolutely drives the entire world crazy with his talent. This kid shines so brightly, bringing a brand new identity to football and lifting the sport to a totally new level of global infatuation. It's just wild. Which brings us to Section 3, Magic and Great Teams. Because greatness takes different forms, right? If we zoom out to the macro level in 1970, we see Brazil's legendary squad acting as this flawless, unstoppable machine. Their brilliant play cemented their legacy, and honestly, they're still counted among the absolute best teams in the entire history of football. It was a masterclass in collective dominance. But let's zoom all the way into 1986, and the dynamic shifts entirely to the individual. Argentina claimed the title that year, and it was completely driven by Maradona's magical, downright shocking individual play. It just perfectly captures how the World Cup can be conquered by a flawless team machine or by a single, unbelievable spark of individual genius. Let's move to our next era and see how this builds. Section 4, Champions of the Modern Era. In the modern era, things really speed up. The power dynamics start shifting incredibly rapidly from tournament to tournament. France achieves massive glory by winning at home in '98, but Brazil, they snap right back in 2002 to show their dominance once again. Then, the game completely shifts. Spain surprises everyone with a distinct, brand new style of play in 2010 that totally reshapes our expectations. By 2014, Germany executes a historic clinical victory. And then, immediately following that in 2018, a fresh, young French generation proves they can step up and rewrite the story all over again. Every single champion brought a completely unique pulse to the tournament's evolving legacy. Now, let's slow things down a bit for Section 5, a dream bigger than a trophy. And this brings us right to 2022. After a very, very long wait, Argentina finally lifted the trophy once again. Now, you might be wondering, why does this matter so much? Because this victory wasn't just about the 11 players on the pitch. No, it was an enormous emotional release. It was the realization of the dreams of millions upon millions of fans. And that is the true scale of the World Cup. Entire nations holding their breath, projecting their deepest hopes onto the field, making the eventual triumph a deeply shared, massive, collective experience. Which actually leads us directly to the philosophical heart of our explainer today. You see, the real beauty of the FIFA World Cup is absolutely not just in the medal of the trophy. It lives in the unseen, grueling hard work of the players who prep for years behind closed doors. It echoes in the unwavering voices of the fans who stand faithfully by their teams through both crushing heartbreak and pure joy. And it exists in those fleeting, split-second moments on the pitch that are instantly frozen in time, becoming permanent history forever. It really all comes down to this. In 90 minutes, a team wins, but the whole world remembers a story. The crucial point is that every single match is confined to just an hour and a half of play. But the narratives generated within those lines, the triumphs, the heartbreaks, the brilliant individual magic, and that collective team dominance, those stories transcend the ticking clock. They literally last for centuries. So, as we look forward to the future of global football, it leaves us with one incredibly powerful thought to ponder. When the whistle blows next, what new story will the next 90 minutes write in history? Which new star will emerge? Which giant might fall? And whose dreams will finally be realized? Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer today. Keep watching, keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next one. Hey everyone, and welcome. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here for today's explainer. We're gonna take a really deep dive into some of the most captivating narratives ever written on a pitch. We're talking about the legends and the lasting legacies of the FIFA World Cup. Now, if you follow the sport, you already know there are just certain moments that time simply cannot erase. This tournament, it's so much more than just a binary game of winning and losing. So today, we're unpacking the biggest comebacks and the absolute most shocking stories in the history of the sport. Let's get right into it. The impossible becomes possible. You know, the World Cup is literally the ultimate stage for exactly this phenomenon. Think about it. So many times, we've seen teams walk onto that field basically given absolutely zero chance by anyone. But through sheer passion and just relentless hard work, they prove something fundamental to the rest of the world. They show us that in football, hope remains fiercely alive until the absolute final whistle. And man, that is exactly the magic we're exploring today. Okay, let's take a look at our timeline. We've mapped out 5 defining years for you: 1954, 1974, 1990, 2006, and 2014. We're going to take a quick chronological journey through these specific eras, mainly because they consistently and brilliantly defied expectations. Each of these years holds a really crucial lesson about just how unpredictable and strategic this beautiful game truly is. All right, moving into our first section, hope and counterattack, taking us all the way back to the 1954 World Cup. This right here brilliantly illustrates the crazy dynamic of that incredible tournament. On one hand, you have the invincible Hungary, the mighty Magyars led by the legendary Ferenc Puskás. I mean, this team hadn't lost a single match in 4 years. Everyone, and I mean everyone, considered them completely unbeatable. But then, in the final, which is forever known as the Miracle of Bern, West Germany unleashed a completely shocking counterattack. They came back from a 2-goal deficit to win 3-2 right in the pouring rain. The unbeatable were actually beaten. It just goes to show you, no script is fully written until the game is actually played. Next up, Section 2, the strategy that changed the game. Welcome to the 1974 World Cup. Now, you might be thinking, wait, the Netherlands didn't even win the trophy in 1974? And you're right, but they did do something completely extraordinary. They introduced the world to total football. So instead of using rigid, predictable formations, their players fluidly interchanged positions on the fly. It left their opponents completely bewildered. Led by the absolute brilliance of Johan Cruyff, the way they moved and interacted out there on the pitch, well, it captured the entire world's attention, and it literally changed how football is played forever. They showed us all that sometimes a true victory actually lies in evolving the sport itself. Moving right along to Section 3, the victory of team spirit. We're looking at the 1990 and 2006 World Cups here. So what's really interesting to remember about the 1990 World Cup is the intense struggle and incredibly deep strategy. It was a notoriously defensive tournament. We're talking about a time when every single goal was practically priceless. You could just feel this immense, palpable pressure in every single match. It basically turned the pitch into a gritty battleground of wills, with teams fighting tooth and nail just to edge out a result and write their names in history. It was a real grind, for sure. Fast forward to 2006, and we see a perfect example of how strong defense and a unified team spirit can completely triumph over individual star power. Italy is the absolute perfect showcase for this. They didn't win the title by outscoring everyone in these wild, high-scoring thrillers. Nope. They did it through a legendary, basically impenetrable defense anchored by Fabio Cannavaro and Gianluigi Buffon, combined with just unparalleled tactical unity. That whole tournament definitively proved that relying on a couple of individual superstars, it's just not always enough. An unbreakable collective is what ultimately creates a true champion. All right, Section 4, the biggest upset in history, the 2014 World Cup. Okay, set the scene with me here. When that Germany versus Brazil match kicked off in Belo Horizonte, the anticipation for the host nation was absolutely sky high. I mean, the whole country was holding its breath. But what followed, it literally left the entire globe speechless. In a span of just mere minutes, a completely shocking story unfolded. Germany just ruthlessly dismantled the Brazilian defense, scoring 4 goals in an unthinkable 6-minute window. Yeah, you heard that right, 6 minutes. Football history was permanently rewritten that night with a staggering 7-1 victory. Talk about a wake-up call. It showed the entire world how the script can just completely flip upside down in the blink of an eye. And that brings us to our final section, Section 5, who is the next champion? As we kind of step back and look at the broader picture here, we're faced with this really enduring, cyclical mystery. It's the same every time. Every 4 years, the whole world comes together, united by one core question: who will be the next champion? Honestly, it's that ultimate unknown that just keeps us all completely on the edge of our seats. Seriously, who's gonna write history next? Which underdog is gonna rise up, harness that pure passion, and defy totally insurmountable odds? Which tactical genius is gonna step onto the pitch and introduce a brand new strategy that changes the game forever, just like we saw with total football? And finally, which moment is gonna be recorded in our memories forever? Because at the end of the day, that is the true magic of the FIFA World Cup. It's an ongoing, ever-evolving story of the impossible becoming entirely possible. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today. Keep your eyes on the pitch, folks, because you really just never know when the next great football miracle is going to happen.
Welcome to today's explainer. You know, when we talk about Cristiano Ronaldo, we're talking about a global icon who has practically redefined the words records, hard work, and passion. I mean, we all know his sheer magnitude on the pitch, but what makes his story truly fascinating to me isn't just the victories, it's the one ultimate quest that still remains incomplete. So today, let's map out the timeline, the unbelievable triumphs, the heartbreaks, and the incredible resilience of a literal living legend.
Just look at the stark contrast here. On one hand, you have everything Ronaldo embodies, right? An absolute mountain of records, a legendary work ethic, and unmatched global success. But balanced against that overflowing trophy cabinet is this one glaring, unfulfilled dream, the FIFA World Cup. It really makes you wonder, how exactly does a player who has won literally everything deal with the one thing he hasn't?
Section 1. Unfulfilled Dream. World Cup.
Now, you might be thinking this is a recent obsession, but this pursuit has spanned literally 2 decades. Just look at these milestones. We start way back in 2006 with his debut, jumped to peak dominance in 2018, hit historic highs and devastating exits in 2022, and now we're looking ahead to 2026. Think about that for a second. 20 years at the absolute pinnacle of international football. It's a massive testament to his journey from a young prodigy to an enduring veteran.
Section 2, 2006, Rise of a Star.
Moving right along to Section 3, Records and Brilliant Performances.
To really truly understand his dominance on the stage, we have to talk about 2018, Portugal against Spain. On the biggest stage, under the brightest lights, Ronaldo scored an absolutely brilliant hat-trick. And this wasn't just a great game, it was a pure showcase of his peak abilities. he proved to the entire globe that he could single-handedly take control of a World Cup match against a top-tier opponent. He completely cemented his legacy as a titan of the tournament that night.
5. Okay, let's just pause on that for a second. 5. This isn't just a number, it represents a towering slice of football history. In Qatar in 2022, Ronaldo became the very first male player in the history of the sport to score a goal in 5 different FIFA World Cup tournaments. I mean, just think about the sheer dedication required to stay at the top of your game across 5 separate grueling World Cup cycles. It is absolutely mind-boggling.
But then, the narrative hits a massive turning point. As historic as Qatar 2022 was for him individually, the collective dream basically came crashing down. Portugal exited the tournament in the quarterfinals, and just like that, the pursuit stopped abruptly. Despite the individual records broken, the ultimate prize slipped through his fingers once more, leaving behind this profound sense of heartbreak on the global stage.
Section 4. Criticism and struggle.
You know, to really understand the man, we have to look past the physical defenders to his unseen opponents: age, criticism, pressure. We all face hurdles, but imagine magnifying that scrutiny on a global scale. As Father Time relentlessly ticks on and the pressure to deliver intensifies, his true legacy emerges. It's his incredible, almost stubborn ability to continually overcome these abstract opponents and perform exactly when the world expects him to fail.
Section 5, 2026, the final journey? Merely stepping onto the pitch in 2026 would be a monumental record in itself. It represents a player's absolute refusal to give up, to maintain the physical condition, the mental sharpness, and that fiery desire required to compete at the absolute highest level for a 6 World Cup cycle. That is a testament to an endurance that is quite simply unparalleled in the history of the sport.
And so, all of this history brings us to the ultimate question. The suspense is just incredible as we look toward this looming tournament. In his final journey, can Cristiano Ronaldo finally lead Portugal to victory? Can he capture the one prize that has eluded him and become a world champion for the very first time? It's the question that's going to define his final act on the international stage.
As our source material reminds us, great players don't just leave records, they leave history. Ronaldo already has the records, right? He has completely redefined the stat sheets. But history is about the story, the struggle, and the passion. So as you think about everything we've explored today, the timeline, the unseen battles, the unfulfilled dream, ask yourself, regardless of what happens in 2026, hasn't he already left a history that will be talked about forever? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll leave you to ponder that ultimate final chapter.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into an incredibly emotional journey, one woven with monumental dreams, profound pain, and absolutely undeniable football history. We're unpacking the story of Cristiano Ronaldo's pursuit of the ultimate prize. Now, this isn't just a basic recount of matches, right? It's a deep dive into relentless hard work and the literal heavy burden of carrying an entire nation's hopes on your back. Let's unravel the legacy of a player who completely pushed the absolute limits of the sport. So I want to hook you immediately with the core question of our entire explainer today. Does a single missing trophy define a legendary career? I mean, really think about that for a second. We're looking at a career filled with almost every imaginable accolade, yet it's missing the one piece of silverware universally seen as the absolute pinnacle. Keep this question in the back of your mind as we go through this journey together. Does the absence of this ultimate prize somehow diminish a legacy? Or does the relentless pursuit of it actually make the story of a legend even better? Section 1, Madeira to the World Cup. You know, every towering legacy has a foundation. It starts far away from those massive, glowing stadiums with a young boy from the island of Madeira who simply dreamed of reaching the biggest stage. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer scale of that journey. 2006, 2010, 2014, 2018, and 2022. 5 separate tournaments spanning 16 years. Just think about that. To be the absolute focal point of a national team across 5 different iterations is almost incomprehensible. It's literally a lifetime of unyielding physical and mental commitment to the sport. Let's rewind all the way back to the beginning, 2006. When he first stepped onto the pitch for his World Cup debut, he wasn't the seasoned veteran we picture today, right? He was this young, incredibly explosive talent with blazing speed, insane dribbling skills, and just this ferocious hunger for goals. He didn't just play, he announced his arrival to the globe. He instantly captured the attention of the entire world on the absolute grandest stage of them all. And wow, that 2006 run was deeply memorable. The team pushed incredibly far, battling their way all the way to the semifinals. Now, even though they fell just one step short of the ultimate title match, a really crucial foundation was laid here. He proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that he was destined to be the next big global star. That near miss, it completely set the stage for his sky-high future ambitions. Section 2, expectations and tough tests. Now, with massive global stardom comes an invisible, incredibly heavy burden. The years 2010 and 2014, they were not easy chapters. The weight of the entire world's expectations sat squarely on his shoulders. Because, look, football is a team sport, obviously, but the spotlight has a funny way of isolating its brightest stars. The sport brutally tested him during these middle tournaments. It's a stark reminder that football can be incredibly unforgiving, serving up the most difficult, grinding examinations even to its greatest players. Section 3, 2018, Magic against Spain. Okay, let's dive into this. If those previous tournaments were a difficult crucible, 2018 was the explosive release of all that built-up pressure. The global anticipation leading into this specific match against Spain was just immense. And how exactly did he respond? With a completely historic hat-trick against a wildly formidable opponent. This match was the ultimate proof of character. It showed everyone that when the lights are at their absolute brightest and the pressure is completely crushing, he can carry the weight of the world and deliver pure, unadulterated magic. Section 4, 2022, Final Journey in Qatar. You know, every sporting journey eventually reaches its twilight, and the story in Qatar was entirely different from where we began back in 2006. He was no longer just the blazing young talent. He was the highly experienced captain, the undisputed veteran leader, and surrounding him was a very, very strong Portugal squad. Hopes were absolutely sky-high as they navigated their way into the knockout rounds. For a moment, it really seemed like the stars might finally align for the ultimate veteran to capture the ultimate prize. But as we all know, reality on the pitch rarely bows to storybook endings. The knockout exit arrived. And the image that defined this moment, the one permanently burned into the memories of fans worldwide, was him leaving the pitch in tears. And guys, those weren't just tears of losing a single football match. They represented the incredible emotional weight of one specific, unfulfilled dream coming to an abrupt end. The World Cup. It was such a poignant, heartbreaking conclusion to a lifelong quest. Section 5, the true mark of greatness. So how exactly do we contextualize a career that has achieved literally everything except for this one specific trophy? Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the visual balance of his legacy. On one hand, you have an absolute mountain of achievements, Champions Leagues, league titles, shattered records left and right. It's a resume of unparalleled success. But standing alone on the other side is the missing World Cup. It's the unwritten chapter of his story. But we have to ask ourselves, does that one blank page erase the rest of an incredible book? So, the crucial point is captured perfectly right here. Greatness is not just winning, but proving yourself to the world for years. This completely reframes his entire journey for us. It's not a story of failing to win a World Cup. No, it is the ultimate showcase of perseverance. Think about it. Returning to the global stage decade after decade, bearing the astronomical weight of expectation and continuously, relentlessly proving your worth. That never-ending drive, that is the true definition of his greatness. Which brings us to our final takeaway. Cristiano Ronaldo, not just a player, but the story of an entire era. When we look back at his World Cup journey, from the big dreams of a young boy in Madeira to those heartbreaking tears in Qatar, we aren't just looking at a series of football matches. We are looking at a powerful narrative that literally defined a generation. The missing trophy doesn't diminish his legacy, it simply makes him human, while his decades of absolute excellence make him immortal. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer. I want to leave you with this. What do you think truly defines an athlete's legacy? Is it the hardware or is it the heart? Keep exploring and I'll see you in the next one.
Welcome to the Explainer. The year is 2026. The entire world is watching, and the stage is totally set for a monumental sporting moment. The spotlight is firmly fixed on one man's ultimate quest, the last dream.
41. I'm just going to take a second and let that number really sink in for you. In a sport that's completely defined by grueling physical demands, relentless speed, and, let's be real, super aggressive challenges, competing at this elite international level at 41 years old is literally a physiological marvel. It honestly defies logic.
Okay, let's dive into this next number, 6.
Guys, this isn't just another tournament appearance. We are talking about a historic 6th FIFA World Cup campaign with Portugal. That's an extraordinary achievement of longevity, discipline, and just sheer willpower to remain at the absolute top of the global game for this long. It's wild.
Section 1. The 2026 Historic Campaign. The stakes here are absolutely massive because this is the ultimate quest for the one major trophy still missing from his legendary career.
Moving right into Section 2, Journey from 2006. To truly grasp the gravity of what's happening right now, we need to look back at where this unbelievable story began, just to see how far this football icon has evolved.
Think back to 2006. We had this fresh-faced, young prodigy relying heavily on raw speed, flashy skills, and an incredible instinct for scoring that announced to the entire world, hey, a massive new star is born. Now, contrast that with 2026. Today, he's a seasoned, veteran captain, literally carrying the weight of footballing history on his shoulders.
I mean, just look at this evolution. It's staggering. From his first appearance in 2006, stepping into the captaincy era by 2010, driving through his prime years in 2014, becoming the veteran leader in 2018, and then hitting that record-breaker status in 2022. And here's a crazy fact for you. He successfully scored in 5 consecutive World Cups leading up to this moment. And now, we arrive at 2026, the last stand.
Section 3, Portugal's star-studded squad. Because it is so crucial to remember that this hero's final quest is absolutely not a solo mission.
Take a look at these key allies. We are talking about a brilliant new generation of world-class players. Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, Rafael Leao. The firepower and the creative skill available to Portugal right now, it's undeniable.
So, how do all these incredible puzzle pieces fit together? Well, Ronaldo is leading this phenomenally talented, youthful squad as their captain, and they are all united under one massive goal: making Portugal world champions for the very first time. His leadership is that vital anchor, channeling all their modern high-speed brilliance toward a single collective objective.
Bringing us to Section 4, the ultimate pressure. Make no mistake, a goal of this magnitude comes with a heavy cost. The World Cup is notoriously unforgiving, and every single match is an absolute pressure cooker. And the reality on the ground is that this 2026 start, well, it wasn't exactly as easy as expected for Portugal. They've already faced some hurdles. And when a campaign begins with a rocky start like this, it exponentially increases the pressure on the whole team, and especially on the captain, tasked with guiding them through the storm.
But his response really tells you everything you need to know. The journey is not over yet. Those defiant words illustrate an incredible personal resolve and a fierce belief that his team can and will bounce back. It's exactly the kind of unyielding mindset you need to even get to a 6th World Cup in the first place, right?
Finally, Section 5, a legacy beyond matches. Let's step back from the tactics and the pressure for a second and just consider what this entire 2026 campaign means for the broad history of the sport itself.
I really want to pose this question directly to you. Will CR7 fulfill his last dream? There is such an incredible emotional weight hanging in the air with those words. We are essentially watching the ultimate competitor pushing against the absolute limits of time.
Will he finally lift that elusive World Cup trophy? Can he achieve the ultimate fairy tale conclusion to a saga that has stretched across 2 entire decades of our lives? It is the singular question that literally has the entire footballing world holding its breath right now.
Because as this final thought beautifully puts it, some players don't just play matches, they become an entire era. Regardless of what happens when that final whistle blows in 2026, his legacy is undeniably etched in history, completely redefining what we ever thought was possible.
We're setting the stage for an absolutely epic journey today. We're going to chronicle Cristiano Ronaldo's relentless, defining pursuit of World Cup glory. Now, this isn't just your standard sports recap. We're looking closely at the narrative arc of literally one of the most recognized figures on the entire planet, tracing a mission that has spanned decades.
You know, when we talk about Ronaldo's legacy, it is so easy to get lost in the sheer math of it all, right? The staggering number of goals, the shattered records. But honestly, he's a player who broke records, shocked the world, and connected millions to football. His story is about way more than just putting a ball in a net.
It's about this unyielding passion that brings him back to the pitch time and time again, even when he seemingly has absolutely nothing left to prove.
So let's dive right into part 1, the story of a great player.
The year is 2006. This was the year everything shifted. Just imagine a young, immensely hungry Cristiano Ronaldo making his debut on the grandest stage of them all, the FIFA World Cup. He stepped onto that pitch with this undeniable hunger to show the world exactly who he was. And, well, he did just that. That 2006 tournament was the exact moment that boldly announced to the globe Portugal had found its undisputed new star.
Which brings us to part 2, his journey of dreams and struggle.
We kick things off with that hungry debut in 2006. But as the years rolled by, heading into 2010 and then 2014, while his internal fire never faded, the reality of the World Cup journey became incredibly difficult. The team had high hopes, for sure, but the sheer weight of carrying the world's gaze on your shoulders, that fundamentally changes the dynamic. That intense pressure and the relentless spotlight really becomes the absolute biggest test a player can face.
Moving right along to part 3, looking at the years from 2018 to 2022.
Now, 2018. If anyone out there doubted how he handled pressure, this tournament provided the answer loud and clear. Ronaldo spectacularly proved once again that he just operates on an entirely different level when the stage is at its biggest. Think back to that legendary, brilliant performance against Spain. I mean, what a masterclass, capped off by that unforgettable late free kick to secure a hat-trick under immense pressure. That match alone cemented his individual brilliance in the tournament's lore forever.
But then, we shift to 2022, and it really becomes an incomplete story. The emotional heartbreak of that tournament was just palpable. Portugal arrived with a deeply talented squad and incredibly big dreams, but ultimately, no trophy. For Ronaldo, this was intensely emotional. The physical tools were there, the team was there, but that fairy tale ending just slipped right through their fingers.
But you know, every great player wants a final big win in their career. We really have to frame the disappointment of 2022 not just as a devastating loss, but as the ultimate emotional catalyst. Actually, think of it like fuel. That heartbreak is the exact fuel setting the stage for one last desperate pursuit of victory. It creates this absolute narrative necessity for closure.
And that leads us perfectly into part 4, Mission 2026, his final flight.
This contrast is absolutely fascinating. On one hand, we have the young rookie of 2006, the dreamer with everything to prove. Now compare that to the battle-tested 2026 Ronaldo. He isn't just showing up as a player anymore, he's arriving as the literal symbol of experience and leadership. We're witnessing this incredible evolution from an individual prodigy into a seasoned team mentor, whose primary goal is to guide a completely new generation.
The stakes for 2026? Crystal clear. With this new generation, he wants to take Portugal to unprecedented heights. And sure, people say in football, age is just a number, but the real answers are always given out there on the pitch. If he succeeds in leading this squad forward, his story transcends mere record-breaking. It elevates into an immortal tale of a player relentlessly chasing a massive dream right down to his very last opportunity.
Which is exactly why looking at all this is so incredibly exciting. CR7's journey is still being written in the pages of history. His legacy is vast, yeah, but it is not yet finalized. We're getting to watch the ultimate chapter actively unfold in real time. The book simply isn't closed yet.
So, the big question, will 2026 be the year his story is immortalized with the ultimate trophy? The stakes couldn't possibly be higher. The pressure is immense, and the whole world will undoubtedly be watching to see how this final mission concludes. Thanks so much for joining me today. Keep your eyes on the pitch, and I'll catch you next time.